My parents told me there wasn't room for me on our family vacation. So I disappeared, and someone found me before I could come back. It started like a joke. The kind of joke that's not really funny, but you laugh anyway because you don't know what else to do. We were standing in the living room, and my dad just blurted it out like he was telling me we were out of milk. "There's not going to be enough room for you on this trip." At first, I thought he meant the car. I even laughed a little and asked, "Should I ride on the roof?" But he didn't laugh back. Mom didn't either. She was folding laundry on the couch, like this was just a Tuesday. "No, seriously," he said. "It's not going to work this time. The cabin only has 2 bedrooms. One for us, one for your sister and her kids. You get it, right?" I didn't get it. Not even a little. I looked at Mom. She didn't look at me. "You're 18 now," she added, like that explained anything. "You're not a kid anymore. You'll be fine staying home for a week." It felt like they had been rehearsing that line. Like they had planned this, prepared for this moment where I'd be standing there with my mouth slightly open, trying to catch up to a conversation that had already left me behind. "But we always go together," I said. "I thought this was... it's our family vacation. We'll FaceTime you," Mom offered, like that was a reasonable replacement. "And me parents told me there wasn't room for me on our family vacation. So I disappeared, and just like that, it was over." I wish I could say I stormed out, slammed a door, made a scene. But I didn't. I went to my room, sat on the edge of my bed, and stared at the wall. I didn't even unpack the bag I had half-packed the night before. Socks were still hanging off the side. At first, I thought it was a mistake. That they'd come to their senses. Maybe they'd feel bad. Maybe they'd realize how messed up this was. But the next day, they started packing. My sister came over with her 2 kids, full of excitement. My parents were buzzing with energy, making lists, checking off groceries, mapping the route. I was invisible. The night before they left, Dad gave me a list of just a few things to keep the house in order while they were gone. Water the plants. Check the mail. Don't burn the place down. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking, how did I get cut from my own family? They left at 8 a.m. sharp. No hugs, just a "see you in a few days." I stood at the front window, watching them load the car, laughing. My sister's kids were already screaming about who got the window seat. And then they were gone. The silence hit hard. Not like peace and quiet, more like absence. Like when a power outage makes the whole house feel dead. I didn't even know what to do. I kept checking my phone like someone might text me and say it was all a joke. But nothing. Around noon, I decided I couldn't just sit there. That's when the idea started forming. At first, it was just a vague, stubborn feeling. But by the time I walked into the garage and saw my dad's old camping gear still stacked neatly like he might use it again someday, the idea had shape. If they didn't have room for me on the planned vacation, maybe it was time I made my own. Not a pity party. Not a rebellion. Just a decision. My decision. And I wasn't just going to sit at home and sulk. If they could go off and have fun without me, I could go off and make my own kind of fun. Something they'd definitely remember. I went back inside and grabbed a notebook. I started writing down a list of supplies, places I could go, things I'd need. I knew I wasn't running away. I wasn't stupid. I just needed to prove to myself that I didn't need permission to live a little. And that's how it started. With a no-room excuse and a quiet house full of echoes. I didn't know where it would lead, but I was already moving. Already packing. Already planning. I didn't know it yet, but this wasn't just going to be a trip. It was going to be the trip. It's funny how quiet determination can be louder than yelling. I didn't stomp around or blast music while packing, I moved with this strange calmness. Like I had already crossed a line inside my head and there was no turning back. I filled a duffel bag with essentials, some clothes, my hiking boots, a portable charger, a notebook, and a flashlight. I grabbed a lightweight tent from the garage, the old one Dad hadn't touched in years. It still smelled like pine needles and burnt marshmallows. I checked it over. A bit dusty, but usable. That was enough. I didn't have a car, but I had a bus card. My plan was loose, take the bus as far as it would go, then hike into the hills. There was a lake I remembered from when I was younger, the kind of place that doesn't show up on tourist maps. I figured I could camp there a couple nights. Maybe journal. Maybe just be for a while. No phones, no family, no disappointments. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Nothing dramatic, just, "I'm okay. Took a little trip of my own. Don't worry. D." I figured they wouldn't read it until they got back. Or maybe they'd text, and when I didn't answer, they'd assume I was being dramatic. Maybe they'd be right. I didn't care. By 3 p.m., I was on a city bus heading north. The kind with cracked vinyl seats and that constant low hum that makes your thoughts feel like they're underwater. I sat near the back, headphones in, but not playing anything. Just watching the scenery change, buildings getting smaller, trees getting taller. Like the world was slowly letting go of the noise. After 2 bus transfers and a couple of confused stares from drivers who probably weren't used to solo teenage passengers with camping gear, I got off near a rural gas station. From there, it was a 3-mile walk down a gravel road to the edge of the state forest. That road felt like the longest stretch of silence I'd ever walked. By dusk, I'd made it to the edge of the woods. The lake wasn't far, maybe another hour's hike. The sun was dipping low, orange spilling through the trees. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Everything okay at home? We forgot to leave the garage code." I stared at it. "No, we miss you. No apology. Just logistics." I turned the phone off and shoved it deep into my backpack. The trail wasn't well marked, but I remembered it. My legs burned, and the bag felt heavier than it had earlier. Still, I kept going. There was something in me that needed to make it to that lake. Like it would prove something. Like I wasn't just doing this out of spite. By the time I reached the shore, it was nearly dark. The lake was smaller than I remembered, but still beautiful, quiet, surrounded by pines that leaned toward the water like they were listening for something. I pitched the tent, clumsily but effectively, and unrolled my sleeping bag. The air smelled clean. Not like the filtered kind you get from candles or stores, real clean. Like the earth was actually starting over each night. I made a small fire with some sticks and a lighter I'd found in Dad's old pack. No food, just some granola bars and jerky. It didn't matter. I wasn't hungry anyway. That night, I lay in the tent staring at the nylon ceiling. The stars outside were like a painting. Too many to count. I wondered if they were looking at the same stars down in their cabin, a few counties away. I wondered if they even noticed I was gone. But I wasn't bitter. Not anymore. I just felt detached. Not from them, but from the version of me that waited to be included. And that night, for the first time in a long time, I fell asleep without a screen in my face or noise in my ears. Just wind through the trees. And my own breathing. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of birds and the stiff ache of a cold back. My sleeping bag wasn't insulated enough for mountain mornings, and I could feel the dew settling into the seams of the tent. Still, it was peaceful. No cars. No voices. Just the early hum of nature waking up around me. I climbed out of the tent and stretched. The lake was still, like a sheet of glass, catching the pale gold of sunrise. I sat by the edge for a while, tossing pebbles and watching the ripples fade. It didn't feel like a rebellion anymore. It felt right. Like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. After a quick breakfast, another granola bar and a long swig of lukewarm water, I decided to explore the area. The forest around the lake wasn't dense, but it felt untouched, wild in a way that made every step seem important. I found a trail that led up a ridge. I figured I'd get a better view from there. Halfway up, I spotted an old hunting blind in a tree, the kind that looks like it was built 20 years ago and forgotten. Curiosity got the better of me. I climbed up, carefully avoiding the rotting spots on the ladder, and sat inside. The view was incredible. Miles of treetops, like a green ocean. I pulled out my notebook and started writing. Nothing deep. Just what I saw. What I felt. Maybe, deep down, I hoped someone might read it one day and understand why I left. By the time I climbed down, the sun was high. I made it back to the campsite just as a breeze picked up, rustling the branches overhead. I was about to sit down when I noticed something strange. One of my bags was open. I froze. I had zipped it shut before I left. I was sure of it. I scanned the area. No signs of an animal, no tracks, no scattered food. Everything was just slightly out of place. Like someone had been there and tried not to leave a trace. My pulse picked up. I walked in a slow circle, checking the perimeter. Nothing obvious. But then I saw it, a small footprint near the edge of the lake. Not mine. Too small, too narrow. Someone else had been here. I told myself it was probably a hiker. Maybe someone passing through. But the path here wasn't marked, and I hadn't seen another soul since I left the bus stop. That night, I barely slept. Every rustle made me flinch. Every crack of a twig felt deliberate. I kept the flashlight close and one hand on the zipper of the tent. By morning, I was exhausted. But nothing else seemed disturbed. The bag was still open, but my stuff was all there. I considered packing up and heading back, but something stubborn kept me rooted. This was my place now. I wasn't going to be chased out by shadows. Still, I stayed close to camp. Didn't explore. Just sat by the water, writing. Listening. That's when I heard it. A voice. It was faint, like someone talking from far off, just on the edge of hearing. I stood up, scanning the trees. Nothing. I held my breath. It came again. 2 or 3 words. I couldn't make them out. I stepped toward the sound, slowly, cautiously. Hello? I called out. Silence. Then a rustle, fast and sharp, like something or someone darting away. I ran toward it without thinking. But after 10 or 15 steps, the forest swallowed everything. No more voices. No more movement. Just the wind. I stayed there for a long time, heart pounding, trying to convince myself I was hearing things. But I knew what I heard. Someone was out there. I didn't sleep the next night. I couldn't. I tried to zip myself up in the tent, turned off my flashlight, closed my eyes, but my brain wouldn't shut up. Every creak of a tree branch sounded like footsteps. Every rustle in the underbrush felt like breathing. I finally gave up and sat outside the tent, staring at the dying embers of the fire. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again. The voice. But this time, it wasn't far off. It was closer, low, almost a whisper. Don't go. I shot up, spinning toward the sound, but I saw nothing. My flashlight beam cut through the trees, but everything looked the same, empty, silent, still. My breath was visible in the cold night air. I shouted, "Who's there?" Silence. But I knew I wasn't imagining it. My skin prickled. My instincts screamed at me to pack up and leave, that I didn't belong here. But some deeper part of me refused. I was done running. When morning came, I decided to search. If someone was out there, I needed to know. I packed some food, my flashlight, and a pocket knife from Dad's camping gear. I followed the path I thought I'd heard the voice from the night before. The forest was denser in that direction, with thicker undergrowth and old, twisted trees. I walked for maybe an hour before I saw it, a tarp strung between 2 trees, flapping slightly in the breeze. A camp. Not mine. I crouched low and moved closer. There were signs of someone living there, a makeshift fire pit, an empty tin can, a damp hoodie hanging from a branch. The place looked lived in, but there was no one around. I hesitated, then stepped into the clearing. That's when I saw the notebook. It was sitting on a flat rock, open to the middle. I picked it up carefully. The handwriting was messy but readable. The entries were dated, going back over a year. They were short. Some were just one sentence. Saw them again today. They never look up. Don't trust the water. Someone followed me. I know it. It felt wrong to read more, but I couldn't stop. The entries got more frantic the deeper I went. The writer wasn't just camping. They were hiding. From something. I flipped to the last page. No date. Just 3 words, underlined twice. You're not alone. That's when I heard the snap of a branch behind me. I spun around. A person, maybe in their 30s, stood at the edge of the clearing. Their face was dirty, their clothes tattered, but their eyes were clear. Sharp. They didn't move. I raised my hand slowly. I'm not here to mess with your stuff, I said. I didn't know anyone else was out here. They didn't reply. Just stared. I'll go, I said. Still nothing. I backed away slowly, heart hammering. When I finally turned and walked, I didn't stop. Not for a second. I didn't look back. When I got to my campsite, everything was untouched. Like nothing had happened. But the woods didn't feel the same anymore. They weren't peaceful. They were watching. That night, I made a decision. I'd leave in the morning. Not because I was scared, but because I wasn't stupid. Whatever was going on out there, it wasn't just me. I woke up before dawn. The forest was still. Not the peaceful kind of still, but kind that feels like it's holding its breath. I packed fast. Tent, clothes, notebook, all of it. I didn't even bother with breakfast. As I zipped up the last pocket of my bag, I looked around the campsite one last time. It already looked like no one had ever been there. Just flattened grass and the outline of a fire pit. I wasn't sentimental about it. I just felt unfinished. Like I'd left part of myself there and couldn't take it back. The hike out was faster than I remembered. My legs burned, but I kept moving. I didn't stop until I reached the gravel road, the one where the trees ended and the world started again. I checked my phone for the first time in days. 5 missed calls from Mom. 3 from Dad. A bunch of texts, most of them some version of, "Where are you?" I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. I didn't call back. Not yet. I wasn't ready to explain something I didn't fully understand myself. I caught the bus home around noon. The ride was quiet. I sat near the back again, this time watching the buildings grow out of the landscape like weeds. My body felt like it had aged 10 years, but my mind, it felt sharper. More focused. When I walked through the front door, the house smelled like lavender and dust. My mom was in the kitchen, phone in hand. She dropped it when she saw me. "Where have you been?" she cried, rushing over. "I left a note," I said quietly. My dad appeared behind her. His expression shifted from relief to something else, worry, maybe. Or guilt. Maybe both. "You can't just disappear like that," he said. "We thought something happened to you." "You didn't leave room for me," I replied, not angrily, just stating a fact. So I made room for myself. They didn't know what to say. That silence, the one from the night they left, was back, but this time, it belonged to them. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just went upstairs, dropped my bag on the floor, and sat on the edge of my bed like I had a week ago. The room looked the same, but I wasn't. Later, my mom knocked on the door. She came in holding a cup of tea like that would somehow patch things. "I'm sorry," she said, finally. "We didn't realize." "You didn't want me there," I said. "It's okay to say it." "That's not true," she said quickly. We thought you'd want independence. You're growing up." I looked at her. "Then treat me like someone who gets to choose. Not someone who's left out." She nodded, slowly. "You're right." We didn't hug. Not yet. But something settled in the room, like the truth finally had space to breathe. That night, I unpacked. I put away the tent, the flashlight, the notebook. I opened the last page again. "You're not alone." I didn't know who wrote it, or what they were running from. But it stayed with me. Maybe I wasn't the only one who needed to step away to be seen. Maybe sometimes you have to leave to come back different. And maybe next year, when they plan the vacation, they'll remember what happened when they said there wasn't enough room. Because next time, I won't wait for permission. I'll already be gone. Thank you for watching the video, like it if you watched the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.